Okay, we're getting off to a chaotic start because Lena just told us that she's studying abroad for 5 months.
Yeah. I thought I mentioned it, but I did not. Well, so here's the thing. Like, so it's a requirement for my major, actually, to have, like, a quote-unquote international experience. So they have a bunch of, like, partner programs and stuff that you can apply to. And so I got accepted way back in, like, November. And it was just kind of like, oh, like, it's just far away. Like, I don't have to think about it right now. Which is why I'm not back in school yet. I would be back at school now if I was in school. But up until, like, a week ago, I was actually not sure that I was going to go. I was maybe going to pull out of the program. So that's why I didn't mention it. I don't think, because it wasn't totally certain yet, because I was like, I might end up just, like, not going.
So our infrequent podcasting might become a tad more infrequent.
I don't know. The timing might even work out better. Who knows?
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I know that we don't post that often, and that, like, there's a podcast I listen to that they've only been going for, like, 2 years, and they're 4 seasons into the show that they're watching. And I was like, yeah, we've been going for about 3 years, and we're 5 seasons in, because we post less frequently, because we used to post once a week. Like, only during a pandemic where you're locked in your house can you record a podcast once a week. When we would watch the episode and then that night do the mini-sode and the full episode. What the fuck were we thinking?
Okay, the podcast that you're listening to, though, is it a 30-minute show or is it a whole hour?
It's about an hour. It's the Psych Rewatch podcast.
Oh, wait, so Psych episodes are about an hour?
Psych episodes are about an hour, yeah.
Okay.
It couldn't have happened, like, in any other scenario. Like, we all had to have not been working and just been in our homes all the time. Like, shit was crazy. And now we, like, all work, and you're going to England, and, like, and yeah, of course we only post once a month. Who has time to do that?
No, seriously. Plus, it's like Shameless is literally not airing anymore. It's like, no, I still love it, but
yeah,
I'm not.
I
mean, it's not at the forefront of my life.
In a positive chaos context, so Philly just won its way into the Super Bowl.
I heard.
Yeah.
Rob McElhenney fucking insane.
He was at the game in the parking lot, tailgating at 11 o'clock in the morning, watching Wrexham on a TV.
In Philly?
In Philly.
They're literally filming Sunny right now. He's back in LA right now.
He flew to Philly, tailgated and watched the Wrexham game in the parking lot, and then that ended in a draw. He went inside, he watched the Eagles game, he celebrated, he got on a plane, and he's back filming Sunny right now.
So he's crazy. Good chaos. I heard something the Winchesters. People were talking on Tumblr about it.
What about the Winchesters?
Something photo of
yes.
Dean.
Oh, yes. Oh my god. It's the best.
But they edited Sam out? I wanted to know
They sure fucking did.
Sam's in that original photo.
He is. It's a screenshot from the original series. It's Dean and Sam getting out of the Impala. This couldn't have been a clearer of Jensen being like, and you have actually nothing to do with this show.
No, because it's like you couldn't have used any other photo.
He could have taken another, like, he has baby. He could drive to anywhere. They could have taken another picture. No, they chose one that they had to edit him out of. So funny. He threw Dean Winchester a birthday party, Lena.
I heard about that.
He's sick in the head.
And I know you heard. I took quite the L. Dude, last time when we recorded was this news out? Workaholics movie got pulled.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Unbelievable. 5 weeks ahead of filming. It's crazy.
Ugh.
It's nothing sacred anymore. I know. I was so mad. That project was announced like over 2 years ago. And even on their podcast, they had been like hyping it up. Like they were like, oh, we finished writing, or they were talking like, oh, we're gonna start shooting in a month. Like we went down to the stages today, like blah blah blah. And I was like, and they literally just canceled it.
Oh, that's like, so rough.
I feel so bad for them. Yeah.
feel like you can't get invested in any TV show anymore or any movie because they're just like, boop, actually, it doesn't exist.
No, it was crazy. Well, and it was like Paramount Plus, are you serious? But then, this was fucking funny. One of the guys is in a new Paramount Plus movie that's coming out in February, and this was some serious PR, like, fuckery. Well, so first of all, they had Adam Devine announce that it was canceled, because Adam Devine has, like, 3 million followers or whatever. So, like, hopefully he could get some hype for it. But they released their statement on the movie being canceled the same day that the trailer for this Paramount Plus, like, original movie that this other guy is, like, third billing. Like, he's a main character, is in. Yeah. That trailer, like, dropped. And he posted on his story, and he was like, I'm really fucking pissed, but, like, just ignore me. Like, I have to promote this movie contractually. Like, he literally said, I think a trailer's about to drop, like, now for a movie that I'm in on Paramount Plus, so just ignore my about face promoting that. Think about it like when your parents grounded you and you called them stupid, but they also already put you in a movie with funny, hardworking people that you really like and want to support. So then he reposted the trailer, like, onto his grid with just the most obvious, like, copy-pasted caption. Just, like, his publicist was like, you need to say this. And he turned comments off. On the post, he turned the comments off. I was like, girl, I'm dying. Like, you're messy. I was laughing.
That is, we also haven't spoken since Jeremy Allen White won a Golden Globe.
Oh my god, yeah. Okay, you know, there's a Dumois. I know not to trust Dumois, but there's a Dumois rumor that him and Addison are splitting, maybe.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, because there was something that was like, let me see if I can find the post. It was like, I don't believe it, but.
Okay, now I'm recording. Hey, podcasters, you didn't hear from me
hey,
for the first 5 minutes of this. Hey, this first 5 minutes of this episode, because my dumbass did not turn on my microphone.
It's a shame because Evan really praised me for the hard work we put in when we did 3
I
episodes
really
a week.
did. I
seriously.
had a lot of goddamn things to say. All right, I'm just gonna reiterate it. We were talking about season 11. I just said Amanda was a badass, and so were we, for getting episodes done in less than 48 hours and having it uploaded 12 hours after it was airing. So. Disappointed at myself. Anyways, I just got scared shitless because there was a shooting on my street literally 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But everything is okay. So I just saw what it was. There was a like a car crash, and then altercation, and then shots were fired.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Some dude that got in a crash.
Yeah. So it wasn't, but at the same time, like, I was getting more, not reassurance, obviously, because something bad happened, but I was getting more reassurance thinking that it was inside the apartment. No, even worse. It was in the parking lot, right where I was standing there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right,
so
I'm back for good.
This is going to be a shit show because... So there's...
What happened? What did I miss?
There's a rumor that... I mean, let's put this out here. I don't believe this, but... There is a rumor that Jeremy Allen White and Addison are, like, either, like, on the rocks or splitting, because apparently, I guess, this is all from memory because I can't find the post right now, but at the Golden Globes, so they went together to the Golden Globes, he was wearing his wedding ring and she wasn't. And that's true. I did see photos to confirm that. That is true. There is some...
I didn't see any red carpet photos of them together. Was she on that with him or no?
She did take some photos with him on the carpet, but there's some rumor that she hooked up with a different actor or something who was, like, also at the Golden Globes. I don't know who that was referring to, but it's, like, it's really stupid speculation, especially because he thanked her in his, like, speech profusely.
Yeah.
But I just saw that and I was like, so we didn't gatekeep him hard enough. He's made it to Dumois.
Oh my god.
I'm very proud of him though. For anything that I have to cut around, the TLDR of the first 10 minutes of this episode is Lena is moving to England for 5 months in 2 days. The Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. Rob McElhenney is insane. Evan was 20 minutes away from shooting that happened down the block from him.
I was like 5 feet away from a shooting, but it happened 20 minutes ago without my knowledge.
And we're all insane, and we used to do one episode a week, and who can do that? Who can sustain that?
Too much, not enough time on our hands. Too much time in the world, not enough in our hands.
Exactly.
So, how do we want to do it today? I know, Lainey, you did the notes. Do you want to narrate? Do you not want to narrate? Would you like someone else to do it?
I can. That, like, I mean, we talked about this earlier. The thing about this episode is, like, it's a really good episode and a lot happens, but there's not a lot of, like, when I was taking notes, I was like, I found it hard to, like, interject with my own opinions on stuff.
Yeah, there's not, like, a beat. I was watching it this morning as well, Amanda, like, just, like, la-di-da, and, like, I feel like it doesn't give you a second to breathe in between
It just
scenes.
felt, and everything just kind of feels very, like, matter of fact. I'm like, oh, this happened.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of, like, how does that affect the story later on? How do I feel about it? It's more just, like, continuing development of what happened last episode, I think.
Okay.
But
do you want?
But I can. But I can. I'll narrate.
All right. I'll do the stats. The stats up at the top for you.
Yes, of course.
Because hello everybody, this is the Luck We Had, a shameless recap podcast. 15 minutes into our record. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Amanda.
I'm Evan. I'm one of your other hosts.
I'm Lena. I'm your other host.
And today we were doing season 5, episode 7. Tell me you fucking need me. I actually clocked it when they said it in the show today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that part is so funny.
I wrote it down. I was like, oh my god, that's the title of the episode. I already knew that because that scene is like so crazy. But I was like,
oh my god,
there it is.
I saw this like TikTok compilation of like shameless characters saying the name of the title in the episode, and it was really funny.
They do it in almost every episode, I think.
Yeah.
It's mentioned
somehow.
somehow.
Almost every episode. There was like a couple episodes ago, I remember when we were like so dumbfounded. We were like, what the fuck does this mean? Because it had no relation to anything happening.
Yeah.
So this episode, season 5, episode 7, aired on March 1st, 2015, which was 8 years ago.
That's crazy.
It was written by Nancy Pimentel. This is the 9th of 27 episodes she writes. She's very busy. She's a writer on every season. It's so many episodes, including the Hall of Shames. This episode was directed by William H. Macy.
Woo!
Let's go.
This is the first of 3 episodes he ends up directing in the series. This one, 905 Black-Haired Ginger.
He was crazy for that. That's the reunion episode.
That's the reunion episode?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. And then 1005 Sparky.
Also crazy for that.
Also crazy for that.
Wait, which one was Sparky?
That was the one where Ian gets out of
prison
and starts working
EMT
with Rachel.
Oh, yeah. I love those episodes.
Her last name escapes me right now. Actress who was on SNL and played Ian's parole officer.
Yeah.
Yes,
Rachel
I know
Dratch.
who she
Rachel
is.
Dratch.
Yes.
Rachel Dratch.
Yeah. William H. Macy. He's Frank. He's very busy. He's the guy. I loved him directing in this episode because that means Frank was barely in this episode.
It was a very Frank light episode.
Mm-hmm.
His absence was felt, though, to me. I was like...
Yeah?
He was sleeping the whole time.
Like, where is he?
Sleeping.
And I was like, oh, right, behind the camera, of course.
Like, I feel like his entire part in this episode is just, like, to prolong Sammy's, like, craziness and just, like, Sammy's crazy storyline.
Yeah.
And even the scenes Frank was in, he wasn't as, like, disheveled as he normally is. Probably because Bill was like, I don't have time to be in makeup to get gross
I know,
today.
I was looking at Bill and I was like, why he look handsome?
Right? Like, why do you look cleaned up, girl?
I was like, why he look kind of good right now? And I was like, oh, it's because Bill just showered that morning
hey,
and didn't have to
girl.
do anything else.
So the synopsis of this episode is Ian finds himself being held at the psych ward. Sammy takes drastic measures to teach Frank a lesson. Fiona makes a decision about romance. Lip's tuition is short and Svetlana moves in with Kev.
That hit
I love how that's so vague about Fiona.
But it hit literally every plot point of this episode. I was like, yep,
Yeah.
that was everything.
And it ignored Debbie, which is fair.
Except, yeah, Deadly Debbie.
Yeah, she's so annoying this episode.
There's only one scene that I liked her in, and we'll get to that. But
the only scene that sticks to me about her in this scene is when they're fucking singing Maroon 5.
No, and it happens. No, I'll get to
the
it.
maps that
It
lead
happens
to
twice.
you.
Oh.
So the previously on was V like strutting down the street in her going out clothes. I think this is either the same outfit for when she goes on a date in the next episode, or goes out in the next episode, or it was her fit when she was going out clubbing with Fiona that one night.
Okay.
I don't remember which
Yeah.
one. But previously on Shameless, Jimmy Steve is back and Fiona's married, but she cheated with him anyway. Sammy has taken control of the Gallagher house. Frank landed himself in the hospital after Sammy like withheld his meds, quote unquote. He just like didn't bother taking them. V and Kev are separating because he pays too much attention to the babies. Deadly Debbie has some moves and a crush on Derek. And Ian ran off with Yevgeny, got caught, and is now an inpatient at the psych ward. So,
Hit the credits.
our opening credits. So we start with Fiona, and she's out on the fire escape at Gus's. He comes out to join her and sees that she's, like, pretty upset, visibly. And he assumes that she's worried about Ian, but she confesses pretty much immediately that she slept with Jimmy the previous day. And he walks away and then turns back and is like, we had sex yesterday. And then leaves her out on the fire escape.
I do.
One thing you
sorry,
first.
I do want to say for the record in this episode 2 things. It is shot beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
there are
Mhm.
some really breathtaking shots in this episode. And I also kind of love it when the cast directs an episode, because I feel like more often than not, that is always an episode that's like, okay, we have like story to tell. We're not gonna fuck around today. And
I feel like because they are involved in the show, they have probably like a better understanding of like the moods and the tone. So like when you have someone who's living that and acting that every day, they can probably have like a more personable like direction towards people
I agree.
versus just like any old
I agree,
person.
especially because the way like TV works, where you have like kind of rotating directors, or like, I mean, you'll have like regular directors, but like they have a lot of one-offs too. I think it's just like nice when there's someone who's involved in every step of production. And I think that's also why like single role TV executives is like such a big thing now. Like limited series that are written and directed by one person through the entire thing. It's like such a big thing now because the vision is just so clear.
yeah,
Whereas
like
it can
White
get
Lotus.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, like White Lotus.
'Cause,
Or
like-
yeah.
And it stays consistent, and like especially with like people sick in the head like us, or just like a normal average viewer, like you can feel the consistency and you can tell when it like feels off.
Right. So
And I was gonna say something about Gus and Fiona scenes. I love though in every one of their scenes in this episode, the lighting is just it's so dark and just like so
cloudy
gloomy
out
and
there.
sad.
Yeah.
Like them on the fire escape, but it's literally like it's like the middle of the morning, but it's like looks pitch black out.
Oh yeah, the lighting in this entire episode is so good. It's gloomy throughout the like entire thing. I know it's like that time of year, but
It's just darker. It
Yeah.
just has like another like layer.
I love it.
so then we move to the hospital and we follow an orderly down the hall for morning rounds. He makes his way into Ian's room. It's like a shared room. There's like 2 sets of bunk beds or something, waking everybody up for their meds. And Ian wakes up with no clue where he is and seemingly no memory of the past few days. He's pretty out of it. And fucking Marcus from AP Bio is there.
Is that? I thought that was him.
I know.
Yeah.
He looked so familiar. I was like, that guy is like a character actor. He's been in like one thing of
But,
everything.
yeah,
But he hasn't. He's just been in Glenn Howerton's AP Bio. I mean, I think he's been in some other stuff too, but nothing that I've personally seen.
But like that's what you clocked.
That's
him
why I
from.
clocked it. I was like, Marcus?
I really like.
Is that the kid with the glasses?
Yeah, the like super annoying one that sits in the front row of AP Bio.
Mhm.
Like I was
Yeah.
saying, the way that this one is shot, I really like the perspective of Ian seeing them through the haze of his meds and like the kind of floaty background around them and like how out of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Like I like that we could see how out of it he felt. It was really cool.
Yeah, everything's like from his point of view. Also super interesting in Ian's specific room, there's another guy in there who's close to his age, Marcus from AP Bio.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 like older patients,
Yeah.
like very like
Yeah,
way
like
older
50s.
patients. Yeah. So I don't know, I thought that was like super interesting to like give Ian sort of like an ally, I guess, or just like someone closer to his age, but then also like experienced people around,
Yeah.
also to like
Mhm.
both to comfort him, but also to kind of spook him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the guy was like, "Oh, you're new here," and then the other guy was like, "You're about to be starting to feel
Yeah.
silly."
Yeah, like they've been through the whole process before, but also it's like concerning to Ian because it's like, oh my god, this is like a chronic thing
Yeah.
for some people.
It was kind of like having a couple of
So-
Franks around in the.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a
Yeah.
William H Macy thing.
I don't know. Yeah, or if it was a casting thing, who knows.
Yeah.
The other patients reassure him that the sedatives will wear off soon, and Ian asks to go home, but the orderly tells him he's got 72 hours left to serve out.
So this timeline, he was admitted the previous night.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
he-
this is the next morning.
Yeah, admitted
Okay.
and then woke up, like probably went to bed almost
All
immediately
doped up
after getting
because they-
checked in. Yeah.
Mhm.
Lip wakes up in his dorm to help a naked student who's locked out after taking a shower. This is the third time this particular student has locked himself out, and he is
And it's only the second
and he
day.
is so naked.
Is what
yeah,
he says.
He's so pissed. So Lip then, after he helps this student, logs on to the student portal to find out that his class schedule hasn't been posted. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. At the Gallagher house, Carl is trying on different outfits for what I assume is his first day of school, because he's still in middle school, and I remember Debbie said something like high school starts today, middle school starts in a couple days or next week or something.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that was like an episode or two ago, because he says, gonna make third grade my
Sixth
bitch for
grade.
a second time.
Sixth grade.
Sixth grade.
Watch,
Sixth grade,
he goes,
sorry.
yeah. So, okay, I cannot believe that grown-ass people were making like thirst edits of him at this point, because he literally looked like a baby to me.
Yeah.
Like, you people are weird.
He still looks like a baby, and
He
Homeboy's
still
like
looks
23.
like a baby to me. He has serious baby face.
No,
I
he
do like that the
does.
one outfit he was wearing, the kind of like cut off tank top thing, looked a little bit like Mickey. Like, I thought that was fun.
Like,
Mhm.
okay, big brother. He finally finds an outfit he likes, and into the mirror he's like, watch out, 6th grade, third time's the charm. So he should be a
High school.
ninth grader.
Probably an
Yeah,
eighth.
he should be a ninth grader.
Yeah,
Debbie is in 10th
is
grade.
a ninth grader.
No, they're not. I don't think they're in the same grade. I think she's 1 year older than him.
Well, he should have finished 6th grade. He should have finished 7th grade. He should have finished 8th grade.
So he'd
She's
be
a
ninth
year
grade. I
older
think
than
Debbie's
him.
she's a 10th grader. She's a sophomore.
But then they forget that and then age him
No,
up, right?
Debbie's a 9th grader.
No.
I think they
No,
do.
like-
forget
Are they
that,
just-
and they age
Is
him
it just
up.
because they're like Irish twins?
Maybe?
Like they're in the same
Probably.
grade, maybe.
Yeah.
We're gonna spiral if we try to think about this.
So he smells something gross and then walks into the hallway where we like see Chucky just shitting with the door open, diarrhea shitting himself with the door open.
Unnecessary.
It's so unnecessary. The sound.
Yeah.
The sound.
Gross.
It was evil. Carl yells at him and slams the door and then sprays the entire hallway down with Axe, which I feel like would just make it so much worse.
Yeah, no, just choke yourself out with like poop and axe.
Yeah,
yo.
seriously.
No way.
Downstairs, Sammy calls both of them down for pancakes, saying if they don't come, she'll give their pancakes to the next homeless guy she sees. And Debbie, like, is sitting at the kitchen table and notices that there's a food bank sticker on the bag of flour she's using. So she's like, oh, well, at least it'll be full circle then, because you stole it from the food bank. And Sammy's like, I earned it. I told them I was raising 7 kids alone. Liar.
Yeah.
But then Debbie points out again, she's like, well, you forgot to mention that 3 of them don't even live here anymore, and
Only one of
only
them
one's
was yours.
yours. Yeah. So Debbie calls the psych ward to see when visiting hours open up for Ian, and unfortunately for her, kids under 16 aren't allowed in. I really do.
My favorite line of this
And
part,
what do you
though, is she
consider a
was
minor?
like, what do you consider a minor? And then she goes, oh, 16.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, weird. But I do really like the way they had Debbie interact with like things relating to Ian, because Debbie is so annoying
Yeah.
in every other aspect of her storyline, but this is the one area when she's like mostly interacting with her family where I'm like, okay, I can tolerate her actually.
And she and Ian kind of
Yeah.
have a little bond. They're the gay siblings later. They're the ginger siblings.
Yeah.
They're like they kind of have a
Mhm.
connection that the other people don't have. And so I do kind of like it when she's the one that checks
I feel
in on
like
him.
Yeah.
They're like smack in the
Well,
middle.
like other
They're
than
the two
Fiona,
smack in the
I
middle
feel like they have the
babies.
most complicated relationships with Monica as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But Carl comes down and reports that Chucky is stinking up the bathroom, and Sammy's like, "Oh no!" Like he's just nervous to start a new school. I think this is his like 4th school.
Yeah.
Yeah, she says like 3rd or 4th school this year.
Yeah, or just in the past couple
like,
years.
In general.
So Sammy and Carl both watch Debbie put on more makeup, and Carl makes fun of her for being friend zoned by Derek, and she insists that she's not friend zoned. So Carl asks how he like touches her arm, and apparently if he punches it like in a friend way, she's in the friend zone.
Mm.
So now she's so
She's
aware.
thinking about that. That's arm touching. Sammy sits down and asks Carl to watch out for Chucky at school, and they kind of make a deal. She's like, he demands nunchucks and condoms. And
Magnum.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Magnum, weirdo. Frank comes in to the house and tells everyone that he was in the hospital, but he's fine now because he's in charge of his own meds, and he like makes a show of like taking his pills at the counter.
He looks showered and put together.
Yeah, I mean
He looks handsome. Bill,
Like, hey.
like, don't get me wrong. Bill Macy is a handsome fella. He is like 70 years old, but he's a handsome guy. And when he doesn't look
But if
like
I was
fucking
65.
dog shit, Frank. Yeah, but if I was 65, if I was 45, maybe.
If I was 50. No, if I was 55.
Handsome
But yeah.
guy.
So Sammy tries to kick him out, but he like gets right up in her face, and he's like, "I'm off to go take a nap on my couch." And Carl and Debbie tell Sammy to just quit it. Like, getting rid of Frank is impossible. He's a cockroach. So
Yeah, like, tough of her, though, to be like, mine and that, and not yours. Like, homegirl, it's honestly more his than it is yours.
no, exactly.
You are new here.
And also just like who the house belongs to. Well, I mean, technically it belongs to Fiona, but next of kin would be Frank.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I get what she's trying to do, but, like, girl, this ain't your place.
No, exactly.
This ain't your area.
Above the alibi, the rub and tug turned breast milk factory is going along pretty well. Like, there's just a bunch of women sitting up there pumping.
I wonder what the casting call was that. It'd be like, need women to be okay with
Have to be okay with top nudity.
Boobies.
Yeah.
Just like new moms, would you like to pump and be on camera and get paid for it?
V comes up the stairs with a few suitcases. She's staying there for a bit while her and Kev are separated. Kev's there too, carrying some stuff. And he goes, "What are you going to tell the twins?" And she says, "Nothing. They're 8 months. They don't understand anything." And he goes, "They understand vibes."
So true. That's not wrong, though. Babies understand
right?
vibes.
Kev is against the separation entirely, but V says she needs space to think, and she gets upset. Like, they start fighting a little, and tells him that since the girls have been born, he hasn't focused on her at all. And he asks if she's even tried focusing on the girls, which makes her just kind of like turn and end the conversation. And it's like, V, I love you, but he's kind of right.
Yeah.
Yes, she had postpartum and she did not handle it well, and then she couldn't connect with them,
Neither
and
did
that
the writers.
frustrated her, and so then she decided not to connect with them, and he's connecting so heavily with them, and she resents him for that, and she resents that like they used to have a very specific dynamic, and it has changed, and they just like have not found a way
sexually.
to communicate that with one another.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I feel like Kevin V, their whole trope was like, oh, they be fucking. They
Right.
always be
but
fucking.
then Kev makes a point later that I also see about that. But anyway, Steve Howie is really funny to me in this scene. I don't know, when he like yells and stuff, I'm like, you are silly.
I love when he like throws the box and he like doesn't mean to throw it that hard and he's like, ah!
He just drops it and it's like full of glass and it just shatters.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry.
And she was like, get out. He was like, I'm not leaving because you told me. I'm leaving because I wanted to.
Back at Gus's apartment, Fiona's straightening up, and Gus asks if she's wearing his shirt, and she is, but she like offers to give it back and then apologizes
It's so
again.
awkward.
It is super awkward, and it's like, girl, why are you still here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like, that's my shirt. And she's like she
oh,
literally
look
looks
at
like a
that.
deer in
Yeah.
headlights.
I do like that they're like that. She's like, I just wanted to put something on, so I threw it on, and then I started straightening up. I clean when I'm nervous, and he's like, I cook when I'm nervous. So like,
oh, he's bringing her a tray of food as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was wearing like a dress when she came over the night prior, so she honestly had no like casual clothes,
probably.
right? Is that why?
Yeah.
That or she just
So-
grabbed the first thing on the ground and
And
like
just threw it on.
I do kind of like this because like they got married after 9 days. So like they both have to acknowledge that their relationship isn't perfect. So that's why he didn't like, you slept with somebody else, get the fuck out. It's like, you slept with somebody else, I'm gonna go sit in the living room in silence for an hour or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me clean while
Yeah.
you cook and act like it's chill.
Well, and Gus brings up that he's super frustrated because he feels like he can't just walk away now that they're married. But I was like, and whose fault is that?
Yep.
Who proposed?
Yep.
And he asks why.
But guess what? You can
Yeah.
walk away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But he asks why she slept with him, and she says it was like they had unfinished business and that it just like happened. And Gus says that he wants to meet him to talk and also to just like learn more about Fiona. He's like, well, it sounds like you were with him for a long time. Like I could use some pointers or whatever. So she agrees.
Yeah. It's fucking
to like
weird,
set up a meeting.
but
So
It is
weird.
weird.
Like I understand like I understand why he's doing it the way he's doing it, but I'm like, homeboy, what are you fighting for?
Yeah. I mean, Fiona's baddie. Like I would fight for her too.
I know,
would
that's
fight
true.
for it, too.
But like baddie gonna be a baddie for a reason.
And now to the psych ward. It's time for breakfast. Ian and Marcus from AP Bio. I don't think his character gets a name. So he's just Marcus from AP Bio to me.
I don't think any people
wait, Marcus,
Um,
I recognized him too, and I only watched 1 or 2 episodes of AP Bio, so Marcus from AP Bio.
Speaking of AP Bio and Glenn Howerton, love how much a flop the Velma show is.
Yep. I watched the first 2 episodes. I have not watched
I've
any
read all
more.
the discourse.
Yeah, I read all the
I
discourse.
read all the
and I was
discourse
like,
about
you know
it.
what?
I saw
don't care.
all of like the Mindy. What's her last name?
Failing.
I have a personal beef with Mindy Kaling, like a personal actual beef with Mindy Kaling, and I fucking hate her, and I'm so glad that the show's flopping.
I have beef with her,
I'm
but
glad
she's
a lot
also
of
an
the-
ally to me. Just in that she's in the Mindy project, she literally employed like all of my comedy guys just for fun
That's
because
so
she was like,
good.
I think they're all hot, so I'm gonna cast them as my love interests. And she did that.
That's amazing.
Office Christmas Party
That's
is
good
what I
for
know
her.
this guy from. He was in Office Christmas Party. Okay.
Oh, he was.
Okay, yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Anyway, they're going through the line together, and Ian keeps insisting that he has to like leave and go home. And he spots an exit door that's being guarded by just like a security guard. And he goes up and asks to leave, and he says that Mickey and Yevgeny are waiting for him,
Ugh.
which is like so sad.
He says Mickey, Yevgeny, and Fiona. Those are the 3 names
And
that
Fiona,
he says.
yeah. And the officer says no, and Ian like reaches for the door again because again he's like sedated; it doesn't really get through to him.
Yeah.
And he is restrained.
Also, the cop is like being overly aggressive.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to, but
Yeah, I was having complicated feelings about that because I'm like, he has to like be prepared for these people to like
so stern.
I have to be stern because these people are not fully there and like, but yeah, he was a little
Mhm.
aggressive, but then he was also like, are you calm? Can you just walk away from this now? It was very weird.
he was like,
Yeah.
"Shut the fuck up and
Yeah,
go eat
he
your French
restrained him
toast."
pretty violently and like berated him pretty hard. I felt like,
I agree.
and
Mhm.
it's like to be
Yeah,
fair, like
definitely.
Ian is fucking skin and bones right now. Like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
not very strong.
he literally looks like a ghost. He's like barely walking on 2 feet.
I want to shout out Cameron Monaghan in this episode.
Yeah.
Fucking kills
Oh,
it.
I give him a shout out
Good,
later.
good.
Yeah.
He's
Um,
unrecognizable in this episode.
yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, like so after this interaction with the guard, all of the patients in the room are like rightfully really freaked out and scared.
Because it causes a lot of commotion, so everyone's fucking
Yeah.
staring at them.
I mean, it is so quiet in there, and that's like, and they're like being loud because like the banging or whatever. But and then the cop like kind of yelling at Ian.
I also like the
Yeah,
color
it's
theory of this
so-
place. Like it's very fluorescent. The lighting is very fluorescent, and then like the yellow,
The yellow
Yeah.
like suits that they wear.
yeah.
What a choice,
Right?
actually. Also, really interesting that don't Ian and Mickey's jumpsuits end up being yellow in prison later?
no,
They
they're
are yellow.
yeah, they're like neon yellow.
I that might just be. I mean, I don't know because I feel like I've heard that it's just depends on like the state
Yeah.
that you go to prison in or something like that. Might just be an Illinois thing.
But I just really liked
But-
the color theory of the hospital. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's all pale and like, yeah. Quick cutscene. Lip makes his way to the registrar's office where there's a line out the door, and he talks to some asshole guy, and he's like, is this the line for the registrar's office? And the guy turns around and goes, no, arcade fire tickets. Yes, it's the line for the
He was like,
registrar's
"No, it's
office.
arcade
And I was
fire
like,
tickets."
no one acts like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, I found out yellow jumpsuits mean they're low risk.
Mhm.
oh, okay.
I also think it might have been a costume choice because the yellow really washes Cameron out. Like,
right.
Dark red is for like super max or the worst. Red is for high
Oh,
risk.
yeah, 'cause
yellow's for low risk. White
When
as
Mickey goes
um,
over to like the Max side to talk to that guy's wearing a red one, I think.
okay.
Oh yeah.
Like way later.
Wow, look at
Look at
Shane was
us.
actually doing one thing right for once.
Okay.
That's that season 10 crew.
Yeah, low risk little dummies doing some
Goodbye,
like
John
yeah, that makes
Wells.
sense why
Yeah.
they were
At the Milkovich house,
Wait,
Mickey's
sorry.
finishing
Wait,
getting
sorry.
ready.
If William H Macy did black haired ginger and William H Macy did this one, William H Macy did both of the ones where Ian is in yellow when being institutionalized.
Yes, he did because he is crazy.
That's crazy. Okay,
All right,
Bill. Okay, Bill.
Yes, he did because he is real.
Damn, maybe we've been sleeping on Bill Macy.
My ally.
Damn.
Okay. Anyway. So after that quick cutscene, over to the Milkovich house, Mickey's finishing getting ready in the bathroom.
He's fixing his hair and he like oh.
He's
He has
wearing a
white little
button up.
grape
He's
button
like,
up.
okay, like I'm ready to stunt today.
It looks like he really cleaned up the house. Like all the suitcases are gone.
Bill Macy said, "I'm gonna let my characters take showers."
And he like meets Svetlana in the living room where she's throwing all of Ian's stuff into a trash bag. And she calls him I Love Lucy, which is both creative but also very hilarious. Packing
I
up
have
I
never
Love
seen
Lucy
that show,
stuff.
so what is the joke?
Lucille Ball
Lucy's
is
a redhead.
super redhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Mickey's confused because Ian doesn't need that stuff at the hospital, but then Svetlana says, no, Ian's moving out because he stole Yevgeny. And Mickey's like, relax. She says, could happen again. It's not gonna happen again because he doesn't live here anymore.
That was kind of good.
And Mickey's like, he's
And-
sick. If he wouldn't kick him out if he had cancer. She's like, if cancer made him steal a baby, I fucking would.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when they get into that part of the argument, Mickey then pulls the illegal immigrant card and it's like, you can fucking move out instead.
Yeah.
Like it's my house, which ends the fight pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like he's not wrong.
She
but damn.
realizes she was pushing her luck. She's like, this is my house. I'm defending my baby. This is my thing. And he's like, actually, I'm still the one in charge. And it kind of brings her back down to earth a little bit.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, because she's like, our baby, and he's like, bitch, I don't give a fuck about that
That
baby.
is your baby.
like I do, but if you're gonna give me the opportunity to be rid of it,
Yeah.
I
He's like, I got the
mean-
baby back. The baby is safe. That is your fucking baby.
Yeah, exactly. So back at Kev's house, Carol's over playing with Dominic and the girls, and Kev returns home, and Carol like immediately jumps on him, and she's like, "Are you and V broken up?" And he says no, he doesn't think, or at least like he doesn't think so. And she takes V's side because she's like, Kev should have been like, you should have been fucking her. And Kev says that maybe if she showed a little more enthusiasm for parenting, then he would be turned on enough to want to fuck her. Carol sees his point. I also kind of see his point here.
This is a complex issue.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Right, like it is. Or if she was just like, or if she was straight up just like, I'm having trouble connecting with the girls. Like, then I feel like he would have been a little more understanding.
Yeah.
And then maybe been like, we can do it together. Like, you know, but so she leaves to go about her day, but says that she'll talk to V after work.
Yeah.
And then worst scene in the entire series. Debbie and Derek are in his car singing along to Maps by Maroon 5.
Them singing along to Maroon
Dude.
5 in this entire
Dude.
Just so
Yeah.
2015.
Following to you.
The map that
The
leads
map
to
that
you.
leads to you.
And
Also, homeboy's driving a convertible.
yeah, but it is kind of a, not like a beater, but it is definitely older.
It's a clunker, yeah. But like he's driving
Gotcha.
a car with no top. Later in the episode, it starts to snow. Like I saw snow coming down.
Yeah,
I
it's a
realized
beater.
that. That's so funny.
And anyway, but yeah, I guess he drives her to school now, which, like, we didn't really get that development, but he does. And Derek introduces Debbie to a group of his friends who just, like, say hi and walk away, which is really funny.
Well, he runs up ahead of her. He says bye to them, and then as they're walking away, he goes, "Have you guys met Debbie?" And they're like, "Oh, hey."
Yeah, and then they're like, and then they just, "Oh, hey," and then they just keep walking away. So then Derek's like, "I gotta get to class," and he punches her arm. And Debbie's face just falls. She's like, no.
Friend zoned.
But it's just, like, it's total, like, boxing, like, he just punches her arm. Back at the Gallagher house.
Because he does, like, a little boxing move versus
yeah,
just,
exactly.
like, a, "Hey, pal."
Like, "Okay, pal, like, I'm going to class." And he's, like, and he's very specifically, like, "I'll see you later," like, later today.
Like, not really giving mixed
home.
signals, but, like, also not giving
Friendship,
like,
right. Yeah.
full signals. Yeah.
At the Gallagher house, Sammy is cleaning the living room next to the sleeping Frank. And, like, she finally gives in and just, like, delivers this long monologue apologizing and asking him to also apologize so that they can move on from their beef. But Frank's, like, still asleep. He's faking it. Yeah. So as retaliation, because she can tell, she sticks the vacuum hose, like, on his forehead, so it sucks a little mark into his forehead.
Like, I understand, like, she obviously knew he was faking it, but, like, homegirl, why have a whole conversation when he was still, like, his eyes closed? Like, at least just wait for him to, like, sit up.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
She was digging her own grave, was trying to talk to him when he was playing his games.
Yeah. So, at school, Carl splits off from Chucky to go to class, and he says he won't be taking him under his wing, that he lied to Sammy. And this upsets Chucky, who just, like, grabs his stomach in pain. He's so close to diarrhea, it's not even
He's
funny.
such a bad actor. He just goes, "Oh, my stomach!"
And then Carl's like, "You're really gonna shit your pants?" And Chucky goes, "I did a little." And his line delivery was giving Neville to me. It was giving Neville Peppermint from iCarly.
I did a little.
His voice dropped like 3 octaves too. Like, there was some, like, I don't know. I was like, okay, Chucky, like,
it had some.
Yeah, exactly. So Carl gives in. He's like, okay, like, follow my lead. Pushes Chucky into a group of older kids. The most, like, punk alpha kid of which starts beating on him, like, throws him to the ground. So Carl steps in and throws that kid to the ground and gives a warning message to everyone. He says, "If you ever pick on Asshead again, I'll chew your nuts off with my teeth." And not in a gay way.
It's just like the beat of realization.
He thinks about it for a second. He's like, and not in a gay way. So in return for saving Chucky's ass from being bullied for the entire year, Carl says that Chucky is, like, now his slave and he has to, like, do whatever he says. And Chucky's response is just, "Okay, Uncle Carl." Uncle Carl.
Uncle Carl.
He's like, "When I text, you come." And
he's like,
"Got
okay.
you."
So back to Lip, he finally makes it to the front of the register's line, and he finds out that his tuition hasn't been paid despite him having a government grant. So he's redirected to the financial aid office, which is across campus.
Mm.
And he probably waited in that goddamn line for like 2 hours to be told, other side of campus.
Yeah. Outside of the Gallagher house, Sammy attempts to wave down the garbage men for a favor, and when they drive by, just, like, refusing, she flashes her tits at them, which does the trick.
They're not even good tits.
And she has that, like, scar going down, like, her stomach, too. I totally forgot about that.
At the Alibi, V finishes serving a cute construction worker who kind of, like, gives her a look as he leaves, like a wink.
It's like
Linus.
A little bit like V is ready to flirt, and a little bit V is like, I know if I flirt with him, he will give me more money. Like,
exactly. No, she does mention that. So Tommy, like, sees this. He's sitting at the bar, and he's like, "Well, now that you and Kev are over, can we have a go around?" And V insists that her and Kev aren't over. She's a bartender. She's supposed to flirt with the patrons.
Yeah.
And then there's a line he says, though. He was like, "I'm like 20 pounds away from looking like him." And she goes, "Yeah, and what
what funhouse mirror?" Yeah. And they bring that back again in another scene. So Fiona arrives at the Alibi and immediately fills V in on her marriage troubles. Like, she just comes in and she's like, "I think my marriage is over." And V's like, "What?" Apparently, V didn't know that Jimmy Steve was back, much less that Fiona slept with him. And Fiona's like, "Well, I didn't want to bother you."
Yeah, when Fiona came to talk to her, V was like, and me and Cav are splitting up, and Fee is like, "I'm gonna shut my mouth, actually."
Yeah, she was like, "You have your own shit, like, I didn't want to bother you." So Tommy spills to Fiona that V moved in above the alibi, and Svetlana also overhears this. I think she came by to drop off breast milk.
Yeah.
She like
I know, she just like appears behind Fiona, and
she's like, oh, interesting. They just needed a reason for her to be there, so she came to drop off like bags of breast milk. Jimmy Steve walks into the bar with his swag.
It's so funny because like V and Fiona are like back and forth talking, and then V's like, oh shit, he's here.
Yeah. And she asks, and she's like, how you been? He's like, I'm fine, like, you look good. And she's like, well.
And then she just walks away.
Yeah. So Jimmy Steve asks Fiona how Ian is, and Fiona says that like she's on her way to go visit him in the psych ward. And he gives her a hug to comfort her, but it kind of like, Fiona kind of like pulls away.
Mm-hmm.
She's like melting into it for a second and then pulls away.
She melts into it, but then she realizes and then just like kind of pulls away. So then she tells him that Gus wants to meet him. And Jimmy Steve like knows that it's not to just talk, it's to see if him and Fiona still have chemistry.
Yeah.
And she's like, clearly we don't. And he goes, clearly. And V comes up behind them and goes, clearly. They should have been it.
So good.
It was so good.
In my
seeing
head,
them
they
together
are.
again.
She flew away on that plane and she found Jimmy. That's what happened.
And then to make money, she went on a dating show.
So they make plans to meet at Patsy's later, and he invites Fiona to Dubai with him while he works a job, and apparently he leaves that night. And apparently...
He was like, I leave tonight.
Yeah.
What?
But apparently after this job, he says he'll never have to work again. Like, he's going to make so much money off of it. And Fiona insists...
His biggest job yet.
Yeah. Fiona insists again that she's married, and he immediately goes, then why'd you sleep with me? And that shuts her up.
Yep.
She's like... And she excuses herself. She's like, I have to go see Ian. Like... She leaves. Frank wakes up to the sound of car horns. Apparently the favor Sammy asked the garbage men for was to move the couch with Frank on it into the middle of the street. From the window, Sammy gives him the finger, and he yells, like, fuck you, back at her.
I'm surprised he didn't wake up from that. Like, they carried his ass and dumped trash
He's
on
a heavy
him.
sleeper, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not in the last scene, I guess.
Lip arrives from his cross-campus trek to the financial office, where there's another long line.
Which, the registrar and the financial aid office should be in the same fucking building. Like, what?
They should, but colleges are stupid.
Yeah.
Apparently, like, my brother's was the same way, where it was, like, everything was a separate thing.
Ugh.
And, like, none of the
That's so
offices
annoying.
communicated with each other either. It was crazy. In Carl's class, where Thomas Barbuska is reading...
Yes, I was just
Yeah!
gonna say that.
I clocked him!
Yeah.
My man from the Mick. I love the Mick.
The Mick, and then So, Ethan used to date his sister Brielle,
Okay.
who's also one of
Mhm.
Emma's
Yep.
like best friends, and Brielle
Really
guest
good
starred
friends.
in a later episode. And I also feel like
She plays one of the pregnant teens.
like one of Debbie's friends. And I also feel like Thomas comes back later, maybe,
I don't know.
maybe not. I might be wrong.
I don't know.
But yeah, he's there.
Maybe.
I recently just rewatched the Wet Hot American Summer like prequel show.
Yeah.
And he was there, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing here?
But I love the kid from AP Bio and the kid from the Mick. That's great.
Yeah, NBC
I
represent.
know, so many cameos.
I was gonna say
Or
too.
the Mick was on Fox. The Mick was on Fox.
I was gonna say
but-
too. While I was watching this episode, Mickey in this episode was giving me very Mac vibes. Like, I don't know what it was about him in this episode, but I was seeing Mac.
Yeah, a little. I could see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, in Carl's class, Chucky comes in to deliver him a can of Coke. Coca-Cola.
I love the teacher being like, "Are we interrupting you?" And then he's like, "No, I'm good. It's just getting interesting, actually."
Like, the story's gonna
I know,
be
he's like,
good.
it's just getting to the good
Yeah.
part.
At Kevin V's place, he's struggling to take care of both of the fussy babies when there's a knock on the door. Svetlana came over with Yev and a suitcase.
Yep.
I know, he's like, what's the suitcase for? And she didn't say anything.
It seems like she may have found a solution to both her Mickey problem and Kev's childcare problem.
Yep.
And she says, I no longer live in Milkovich House. He asks why. She says, Danny Bonaducci takes baby. It's not safe anymore. I had to look that up. He's like a super redhead former child actor turned radio host.
Yeah.
And he just goes, okay. And she goes, I stay here now. And he's like, whoa, what? Like, so in exchange for sleeping on the couch and 2 meals a day, she'll cook, clean, and do wifely duties. And that sounds like a pretty good deal to Kev. So he says okay, but just until V comes back, probably like 2 days or so.
Yeah. I like the way that she said it. She's like, I cook, clean, wifely duties. She made it sound like wifely duties was cooking and cleaning.
Was the cooking and cleaning, yeah. But it means something else.
Yep.
At school, Debbie's in the hall with some friends, and she's eyeing Holly, who's talking to like a different group of people down the hall. And when Holly leaves to go to the bathroom, Debbie follows her in there. Holly is sporting a pretty dark black eye from their last encounter, so she gets really scared when Debbie comes in, and Debbie like pushes a whole cabinet in front of the door.
Yeah, what's up with the cabinet just being in the bathroom like that?
And she's like, we need to talk. And Holly is like, I'm gonna call the principal, you're gonna beat me up again. But Debbie actually just wants to talk.
She has the principal on speed dial.
Yeah. And like she pulls the phone out of her boot too, like
out of her sock, because she's wearing a skirt, which is just so
2000s
girl of her. Loved
so
it.
2010s.
But Debbie's actually just there to talk. She wants to know how to get out of the friend zone, and Holly insists that if Debbie just like touches whatever guy a lot, because she doesn't know it's Derek, touches the guy a lot, like on the leg near his dick, it'll work. So Debbie lets her go. She's like, you promise it'll work? And Holly's like, I promise, I swear. So now Debbie has her plan of how she's gonna seduce Derek.
Yeah.
Lip is finally called into the financial office. According to the database, he needs to pay over $13,000 in tuition to get his class schedule. And Lip tells...
That's a lot of money.
Well, he just like, it hasn't been paid. And Lip is like, well, I have a grant, like a government grant, so I don't pay tuition. And the guy asks him if he turns in the forms. Lip says, yes, I did it last year, but he's supposed to do it every year. So now he doesn't have his grant, and he'll have to either take the semester off or come up with the money in 10 days.
I can't believe they couldn't put him on a payment plan. They couldn't be like, you have to pay this much toward it. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Is it because it's so late, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
they didn't have karma back in 2015.
Is it crazy of me to think that $12,000 is not his only
$12,000? Well, if he went to a state school, like when I went to Montclair, my tuition for a semester...
And he had a scholarship.
No, but my tuition for a semester was about $12,000, and then living on campus was another $10,000 or $12,000. So I paid $22,000
but he
a
gets
semester.
free.
Yeah,
but he gets free reward for being an RA.
Yeah. Right. So he's pretty fucked. And in the next episode, we do have a scene of him in this financial office that is Emmy worthy to me.
Yep.
And I am so glad he won.
He got a Golden Globe, baby.
And I think he'll be eligible for Emmys next year.
Yeah.
I think the Bear just missed the Emmy cutoff.
But it qualified for the Globes.
Yeah, not sure if he'll win just based on who he might be going up against, but
yeah,
he definitely deserves it.
Especially how long season 2 takes. There might be so many other things.
Well, I think it'll be season 1 that's eligible
for Emmys next year.
Yeah, it
just for the Emmys. Yeah.
Yeah, because season 1 came out in the summer, and the Emmys cutoff is in May.
Yeah. But he'll now be up against, The Last of Us, which is going to be rough.
Oh, yeah,
damn.
with Pedro Pascal.
I had to watch the new episode today. I'm gonna fuck Pedro Pascal, sorry. He's sorry guys. I don't know. He's my new
he's
daddy.
He's
my man of the month.
I was 35. Anyway.
If I was 22, yo, let's go.
If I was 22. Let's see, where was I? Oh yeah. So back at school, Chucky and Carl are leaving when Frank approaches for a favor. He hands Chucky a huge stick of cotton candy and Carl a slushie, and then has another kid take a picture of the three of them. And Carl's phone case is brass knuckles, which is hilarious to me.
It's so funny.
And Frank has Carl send this picture to Sammy, along with a text telling her that they're having the best day ever with Frank. And then he leaves and takes the cotton candy and the slushie with him.
He's slipping the slushie as he's
tell her
it was the best day you've ever had and you're having so much fun.
Me,
and I'm like, hell
Frank.
yeah.
Yeah. At the psych ward, Fiona arrives to find Mickey waiting for her. She brought a pie from Patsy's for Ian.
I'm surprised she could bring in outside food, right? Which was interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Not pre-packaged, because I know hospitals have they need to be factory sealed. She just brought a pie with some saran wrap on it.
It's probably fine if they eat it there with him.
Yeah.
Like, they can't just leave it there. But, like, it's probably fine if they... I don't know. But Mickey is, like, very uncomfortable with... Like, I don't know, the psych ward is just freaking him out. And then Fiona's like, yeah, imagine you're 8 seeing your mother here for the first time.
And he's
so
like, Jesus,
sad.
no thanks. But
Yeah.
they have, like, a tiny little moment of bonding in this. And the same that they have, like, in a later episode when he's back at home. There's little moments
the
with
iron.
Mickey and Fiona. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the scene that's like a couple scenes after this one with them in the chairs.
Oh my God.
I love that.
They could have been besties.
That's like so.
It was ripped
I know. I
from
was like,
us
that's
too
so
soon. Seriously, because it's like
good.
right when he gets
That
returned,
meant season
Fiona
5.
leaves. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just the two of them because Lip texted and said he's going to be late because he's dealing with all this financial shit. So the two check in, and when asked what his relationship to Ian is, Fiona says sister, and Mickey says boyfriend. And Fiona huge. And Fiona gives like a little like smile at this, like a little grin.
She gives a little side eye because like Mickey also like kind of looks at her for like a
she's
second.
Proud.
And
I mean,
like,
she's
okay.
She's proud because she's kind of known for a long time.
Is the biggest step.
Yeah.
Mickey could have taken in front of someone else,
and, like,
not
this
just
is
Ian.
he's like at the police station. He's like, I'm his partner, I'm his lover, family, like we're family. And then here he's like, I'm his boyfriend. Like, I love this. I love it so much.
Like, that's mine. So speaking of Lip, back to Lip, walking through the quad on campus, and one of those like credit card booths from the last episode, like the predatory ones, asks him if he wants to open a line, and he says no. But then he thinks again. So he asks the guy a couple questions, finds out that he can take out a cash advance. So Lip does what any desperate college student would do and opens up several student credit cards, then immediately hits the ATM and takes out what I assume to be at least like 1,000 in cash.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, like
at
he
least
must have taken out like a couple hundred from each card and then gone to like another ATM.
Because if it's like $500 max first card and he got like 6,
his credit line was. So I was actually thinking about this. This is why like I was like I assume this to be at least 1,000. His credit line on each card was 1,000 a month.
Yeah.
But I don't. I mean, I feel like Lip is smarter to be like, okay, I'm gonna max out every single card and then have to fucking pay it all off somehow. Like I don't know.
With credit cards, there's
the minimum
your
payments.
Max. Though, but no, I think with credit cards though, you have only a certain amount of cash you're able to withdraw from them, and the rest is just like
on the card
credit towards like actual payments. Like, because with my credit card, I can only take out like $250 cash.
Like he can take out $1,000. Like if he goes to a bank, they'll give him $1,000 as credit against the card.
Mm-hmm.
But like an ATM will only let you take like $200.
Yeah.
That's probably why he had to do 14,000 cards, because he knew he had to do so many different...
Yeah, he had like 6 different cards or something. So...
I know, I love he's like 3 ATMs at once.
Yeah, he's
just
he's
like
hitting
pulling all the money out.
So back at the mental hospital, Fiona and Mickey are waiting in the rec room for Ian. And like a slightly... I wanted to say like off-putting or creepy or something, but I felt
he's
so
just
bad.
Like
he's
a
just
little
very
bit too
sedated.
close.
He's just
and he's just like staring at Mickey.
Yeah, very close.
Like a foot away from his face.
And Mickey snaps, tells the guy to push the fuck back, not job. Fiona immediately kicks him, and I laughed. I laughed so hard.
It was so big.
I was like, yeah, kick his ass.
That's so funny.
And she goes, there is a seat right there, like pointing next to her, because Mickey's sitting like on the couch.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, it's cool. The guy gets up and leaves. No, it's cool. It's fine. You can just keep staring at me. It's cool.
I love how they just have like a little bit of lightheartedness before such an upsetting thing.
Yeah. I remember when watching the scene, I remember watching behind the scenes things of like Noel couldn't keep it together during this scene. Like that's why
he was laughing or he was crying.
No. Like,
no, I heard he was crying.
Yeah, I was like, which one?
Yeah, like Noel, like
I heard
Mickey walking out at the end of this scene is because like Noel could not stop crying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Damn. Okay. I see you.
Finally, Ian arrives, led into the rec room, and he groggily gives Fiona and Mickey both hugs, and they're both being like very tender with him. I really, really am excited to get to later seasons because I feel like I don't know. Ian and Fiona's relationship is always something that was like very special to me.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
Yeah, and especially during season 8, it's crazy, and I love it.
Well, because they have beef, but like I feel
like
but
that's why I love it.
Thing, like with Fiona and Lip is that they're constantly kind of like in competition with each other a little bit. Fiona and Ian, there is sort of this like motherly
She raised
quality
him.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Lip was more of her equal because they were closer in age and stuff, and he's
and
the
then
second
Ian
born.
was the baby.
And Ian was like the baby for a while, especially really long time until Debbie.
And I think too,
because him and Debbie are 6 years apart, quote unquote.
Something like that.
and I think too, her having to mother him through everything that was happening with Monica, like she had to take the brunt of the Monica, and she had to raise the kids, and then when she sees it happening to him, that motherly thing comes back up for her, and like it really changes their whole dynamic.
Right, but then it's also like in later seasons, like now Ian is at an age where he, as an adult, can also support her back.
Yeah.
So I feel like they just have like a really interesting relationship to me.
Yeah, like when Emmy was leaving the show and Fiona goes to him to be like, I'm thinking of doing this, and he's like, baby, leave. Like, get out of here.
Like, get out of here, girl. Well, and he's
and
the only one
still
who still talks to her, I think.
Yeah.
Or is canonically said to still be talking to her later.
That makes so much goddamn sense.
Like at one point he's like just got off the phone with Fiona or something like that. So, anyway,
I wonder what they talk about.
Stuff. I don't know. Things. So they sit down. Fiona asks how he is. And when the camera like cuts back to Fiona and Mickey, we see it from Ian's point of view. Stuff's like blurry. He can hear the sound of two people playing ping pong in the corner more than Fiona's voice, which I think is really great stuff from William H Macy in terms of like showing this disconnect. I don't know if that was like written into the script or anything. Like, oh, we see it from Ian's point of view. But it translated really well.
It did.
Definitely.
Fiona excitedly tells Ian that she got married. It does not sink in for him. Ian asks where Yev is, and Mickey jumps in here saying that he's at home. He's totally fine.
Yeah. I really liked that moment of him, of like, Ian's number one concern is like, did I hurt the baby? Like, how is Yev? And Mickey's like, do not worry, Yev is fine. Like,
he's totally fine.
Very
he's
sweet little moment, and that's like the only thing that kind of we could see. It's like you can hear that sound that you can hear in your ears sometimes, that like ringing. It's like the only moment where that stopped, and then he went back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I think Fiona says something like, "You're gonna see him really soon." Like they're just like really trying to help him. And so after hearing this, Ian just gets up to leave. And Fiona asks where he's going.
Like, I'm done.
He's like, I'm tired. Like, I'm going to go lay down. Definitely not himself at all, but he's also not manic. Just sedated as fuck.
Yeah.
And Mickey won't really look up at Fiona, but he's very clearly shaken. So she tries to comfort him, telling him it's just the meds. But Mickey just decides he's going to leave.
Yeah. Because Noel can't stop crying, so Mickey has to walk out of the
He was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. Like, goodbye. Oh my god, that fucking picture that he posted the other day. His beard.
The beard? Oh. No,
ginger beard.
It's not worse than bald Cam.
I wanted to throw up. Seriously. I was like,
both are men taken. Both are men taken.
No, seriously,
Literally, there was like
actual L's.
the compared photo of like Cameron at a fucking like red carpet 2 nights, and then him bald in a fucking boxing ring.
I'm so sorry, but I'm just like, Noel, like you saw how you look with black hair. You look so awesome and good with it. Like, just keep it forever. Seriously,
it makes you look young.
Yeah, like when every time he goes back to like blonde / kind of ginger, like I'm just like I'm gonna throw up. Like, no, this can't be happening. But anyway, back to the show. It
was a very sad scene. We needed a moment.
Very sad scene. I needed to laugh. Back at Kevin V's, Kev's sleeping in the bed when he's woken by some pleasurable sensations, and he thinks it's V. Opens his eyes to see Svetlana servicing him.
Yep.
He tries to refuse, but she just continues and kind of like talks him into it. But then finally he's like, no, like stop. And then at that exact point he finishes.
I just love that she's like, I cook, I clean, I wifely duties. You guys are broken up. You don't really have rules. So then this is fine. And he's like, no, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's fine. And then she licks her thumb and sticks it up his ass. And he's like, actually, this is fine.
He's like, oh my god. Like,
I love when he grabs like the photo of V and he was like, yeah, it's like V's giving me a blowjob. And he's like, no, actually, it's V staring at me while I get a blowjob.
Yeah. So, speaking of V, at the Alibi, she's Facebook stalking her ex-boyfriend. His name's Eddie Murphy. And everyone's like, the Eddie Murphy? And she's like, no, some other guy.
Yep.
So, she decides to message him. And this is again where she shows this picture to Tommy, and Tommy goes, I'm 20 pounds away from looking like that guy.
Yeah. They're so funny this episode. Like, it's just Tommy and fucking
He's just
Deke
chilling,
banter.
So at that point, Carol comes in with Dominic, delivering on her promise to Kev to talk to her. And they argue, but Carol just kind of, like, ends the conversation by telling her not to blow it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she hears, like, kind of all this stuff, and she's just like, Kev is a good one. Like, just don't blow it, And then she leaves. Derek and Debbie pull up to the Gallagher house, listening to Maps again. Listening to the exact same part of Maps again.
They could only pay for that 5 seconds.
No, I know. It's like freaking 15-second copyright or whatever.
To you, the map that leads to... It's literally the end of the song, too. It's just the ending.
Before Debbie gets out, she, like, touches Derek on the leg a few times awkwardly. She's like, this is my house. And she's, like, patting him on the thigh. And he's not really responsive. He's kind of just confused. So Debbie gets out of the car, says goodbye, and then stops herself. She turns around and just starts, like, yelling at Derek. She's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't want to just be your friend. Like, I want you to be my boyfriend. Like, I'm sick of having to, she goes, I'm sick of having to change who I am, or wait till I'm older, or rape someone into being with me. And it's like, well,
girl.
I went, oop.
I was like, well, you sure are self-aware. Cunt.
Yeah.
Gross.
She goes, I'd be a great girlfriend. Okay, baby trapper.
Literally.
Actually, either way.
Literally.
Nevertheless, Derek pulls her into a kiss, says he likes her too, and then tells her he'll pick her up for school tomorrow, and she walks away like all giddy. Mm-hmm. She literally goes, he likes me.
Delusional.
Like, Jesus. Back at the psych ward, Ian is in his doctor's office for a meeting. Probably to discuss, like, treatment plan. And he tells her that he only signed the authorization to be admitted because his family wanted him to, because they think he's bipolar like Monica. And she asks if he is, and he says no. And then she asks how they knew she was, and he explains, like, multiple things she did, like taking them on shopping sprees, then trying to kill herself. And Ian says that he hasn't done any of these things. But then the doctor literally pulls up the intake report and is like, well, it says here you stole your lover's baby and went to Indiana.
Because she's like, have you done that stuff? And he's like, no.
You ran into a grocery store screaming about demons and that the police were trying to steal him. She goes, the police weren't trying to steal him. You know that's not true. And immediately he just shoots back, were you there?
Yeah.
And she's like, like, just very, like, accused. And she's like, no, you're right. Like, I wasn't, but... So they argue back and forth about the baby, and Ian is like, I love that baby, I took care of that baby, like, whatever. But then he goes, Fiona almost killed Liam, why isn't she in here? What he doesn't realize here, that does not give him credibility at all, is that the doctor does not know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he's not
like, for him to
case.
just pull it's like
also,
you're just,
Fiona went to prison. Like, Fiona went to prison.
Exactly.
For what she did.
Yeah. And then broke probation and went back to prison.
Right, well, and it's also, like, doing a drug and leaving it unattended is not the same as kidnapping a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, one of those is an accident. And it was, I mean, if it was child endangerment, but it was an accident. And the other one is meditated.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, she insists again that he shows signs of bipolar, but there's evidence to suggest that it can be, like, well managed with treatment, and says that they should talk again tomorrow. Cameron was putting in the work here.
Yes.
This is my shadow for now. He is putting in the work. And then this is kind of like the big climactic scene of the episode. So it has a few moving parts. So my description of it isn't that great. But back at the Gallagher house, Chucky is showing Sammy a painting he made at school and raving about how good of a day he had thanks to Carl. And he also mentions that Carl made him his slave. And Sammy's like, what? Debbie comes down and takes her food to the living room to eat, and Sammy's like, no, we don't eat in the living room, like, we eat in the kitchen. Carl comes down right after her and tells Chucky to bring him his food in the living room. And Sammy's like, no, Chucky, don't do that. Like, she doesn't want him to be his slave. And she turns to Carl and she goes, why are you doing this? I got you nunchucks and condoms. And he just looks up at her and goes, yeah, I got one on right now.
And he's wearing the rest of
He's fully clothed. He's fully clothed.
He's wearing the other ones as a necklace,
laughed
and
so
he's
hard.
like,
I was
I got
like,
one
no.
on right now.
Frank comes in the front door with balloons, hands one to Debbie and one to Carl. Sammy wants him to get out. She starts yelling at him. Carl tells Chucky to feed him. Frank and Sammy, like, turns around after hearing that. She's like, no, Chucky, like, stop being his, And then Frank moves into the kitchen to grab himself some dinner, so that distracts Sammy again. Lip arrives looking for the registered letter that someone must have signed for that contains his, like, grant papers.
He's like, why does no one ever fucking throw away the junk mail?
Frank plops down on the couch next to the other kids, and again, Sammy insists that he leaves and tries to, like, pull him off the couch. And then, again, Sammy also tries to keep Chucky from doing whatever Carl tells him to. And then Debbie, like, points Lip. She's like, oh, well, like, maybe it's on the windowsill. Like, big, thick packet or whatever. He finds the letter there, and he freaks out, telling them that he can't pay to go back to school now because no one told him about the papers. And that was Jeremy putting in the work.
Yep.
Putting in the work here. And this was the one scene also where I was, like, really kind of tolerant of Debbie because she actually, like, genuinely apologizes to him. She's like, Lip, I'm sorry, we didn't know.
Yeah.
Like,
which is, like, true, though. He didn't go, hey, guys, look out for this big package for my tuition to go to school.
well, because he didn't know either, but it was also, but she was like, we didn't know that, like, well, and it was also for, like, I'm assuming Debbie is not the one that signed that,
Yeah.
you know? Like, because I feel like
Absolutely
she would have
not.
passed it on to him. It's probably Carl or something.
Yeah.
But Frank, of all people, starts to lecture Lip about taking responsibility for his own actions, and he can't blame anyone else for not telling him about the papers. But it's worth noting that he's doing this. He's like, we can't depend on other people. It's worth noting that he's doing this while eating from the pot of food that Sammy made. And he's very obviously digging at her, and she's just fuming. So in response, she pulls out her gun and points it at Frank. Everyone scrambles out of the way, except for Frank, who just stands up calmly.
He's just sitting there.
He like stands up and goes to walk toward the kitchen. And again, she demands that he leave or she'll shoot him. And it's like a cartoon. He literally goes, go ahead, you don't have the guts. And then he turns around and then she does shoot. The bullet grazes his arm. Frank, who starts bleeding pretty profusely, just plops down.
Isn't there, like, a beat, though? Isn't there a beat, though, where it, like, hits the flower and everyone's just standing there and he's like, ha, and then all of a sudden, like, you start hearing, like, the blood smacking the floor?
Yeah, exactly. It does hit that sack of flour that Sammy got from the food bank, so that's also full circle. And then, yeah, he's like, haha, but then he, like, looks and his arm starts, like, bleeding pretty profusely.
Because it, grazes him, like, on, like, the outside of his bicep, right?
So he literally just plops down on the floor. And Sammy picks up the container of salt and stands over him and then demands that he tells her he needs her. And he says no. And she goes, tell me you fucking need me. Title of the episode.
Yeah.
Hey!
And then she literally pours salt in the wound. This makes Frank give in, and immediately Sammy's demeanor completely changes. She goes back to, oh, daddy. And then she gets him up and ushers him right out the door to the hospital. And she's like, Chucky, sweetie, like, we'll be home later. Like, she's crazy.
She's
bad shit.
I hate her so
She's
much,
bad.
dude.
Yeah. For sure.
She's wackadoo.
Outside Patsy's, Fiona arrives to meet Gus. She updates him on Ian and says that it was hard. She says it was hard for his boyfriend. And he goes, Mickey? And she goes, you remember. Girl, your bar is so low! You remembered. Like,
I saw that too. She's like, oh my god, you remembered this one aspect about my blood. Like, she was on the phone with Mickey when Ian stole the baby, and having been gone for 2 years, Jimmy was like, oh, is that Mickey Milkovich on the phone with you? Like,
right? It's like, of course you remembered. Like, he's around. But she kisses him, and then while they're kind of like making out a little, makes eye contact with Jimmy, who's sitting inside watching.
It's so
from the booth.
weird.
And then the two go inside. Jimmy gives Fiona a hug and then introduces himself to Gus, and Gus immediately sucker punches him in the face.
My nose is not
so
having
good.
a good week.
I miss him so bad. Justin Chatwin, his swag, his slay, to me. I just loved seeing him again.
Me too.
Fiona.
He's very slay to me.
And so Gus, like, storms out. Fiona catches him outside. And he says that he really was gonna just talk to him until he saw how smug Jimmy looked.
Yeah.
He's not wrong,
That
though.
hug,
He's not
right?
wrong.
He was milking that hug.
No,
because
seriously.
he milked that hug.
So he leaves to go ice his hand because he has a gig tomorrow, and Fiona's pissed. She's like, "That's it? Like, you're just gonna walk away?" Like, and it's like, girl, you cheated on him.
Yeah.
Like, what did you expect?
Yeah.
He doesn't owe anything to you anymore.
No, exactly. So Fiona then turns around, watches Jimmy inside making friends with like the waitresses who are helping him hold a towel to his nose. He's literally just chatting it up with them.
I love the one that hands him the towel that goes like, it's sort of clean.
Oh yeah, isn't that the woman Melinda or something that Fiona has beef with later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the girl whose name changed like twice.
Back at the alibi, V finishes closing up and goes upstairs, starts winding down for the night. It seems like she's been texting Eddie, who sends her a shirtless photo.
Ooh.
And then,
Eddie
oh my
Murphy.
god, the most heartbreaking scene of Mickey.
God, I hate this scene.
Oh my
I hate
god. He's...
Mickey, alone, back at his house, drunkenly stumbles around looking for... He calls out for Svet, Yev, and Iggy. No one's home. I mean, he doesn't know that Svet and Yev moved out, and then Iggy's just not there. While he's looking around for everybody, he, like, trips in the living room.
hits his face.
Falls on the floor, cuts his face.
His face.
And then sees, like, Ian's army jacket next to him on the floor.
The reveal
just, like,
of that,
looks
because
at
like,
it.
it just looks like something that he's pulling toward him, and then you see the
And
Gallagher.
then you see
Oh!
Gallagher.
Yeah, cuddles it to his
So
chest.
good!
Sad. Seriously sad.
Sad. And it's just like so dark and sad and cold.
He's alone. It's
so
empty.
Fucking hate it.
Like,
The house is dark, yeah.
He's got no one.
Outside Patsy's, Fiona sits on the curb, and Jimmy comes out and sits next to her. Fiona tells him that she does love him, because remember in the last episode, or 2 episodes before, when he was like, I love you, and she, like, wouldn't say it back. So Fiona's like, I do love you, you know, and he says it back. And they were everything! It is sick to me!
this scene is so
Like, I was,
good.
so good. And she's like, and she says that she does really miss him. She does really miss their life together, but it's just, like, not who she is anymore, because she doesn't like his, like, the uncertainty of being with him.
She used
you
to
know?
like it. She's like, you were the bad boy. Yeah.
The crime and the danger and not knowing if he'd come home, you know. And he tells her that he canceled the trip because he'd give it all up for her. But I'm also like, well, remember how you enjoyed domestic life last time, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, literally. We still got Liam. She still's got fucking like another
Yeah.
15 years.
like he was not having a great time being a housewife.
But he
Yep,
looks so good doing
right? But
it.
he insists that she's it for him, but she says that she doesn't think he's it for her. So she says, you have to let me go. You have to let me let you go. And Emmy is putting in the work.
Yep.
Soft crying.
Yep.
Like, she, like, just tears falling down her face, not like her legit sob. It was good. And he goes to kiss her, probably to, like, try to change her mind, but she turns away.
Mm-hmm.
And this seals it for him. So he gets up, and he gets on his motorcycle, and he's like, take care of yourself, Fiona. And he rides away.
I love he says, take care of yourself, Fiona Gallagher. And she says, you too, whatever the hell your name
Whatever
is.
your name is. And that is a wrap on Justin Chatwin.
Yeah.
Actually, a
God
wrap on him.
damn it!
Anyway,
Officially.
we're not done yet. At a post office, presumably near campus, Lip gets an application to open up a P.O. box for his mail. At the hospital, Ian paces the room, running his hand against the wall, and the other patients are super annoyed because he's keeping them up.
See, I didn't read that as annoyed.
This
I didn't read that as
scene.
annoyed. I read that as them, like, observing him. Because he's, like...
Just observing.
Yeah, like, they're just, like, witnessing this. They're witnessing this happen.
Like, more concerned.
I thought they were, like, kind of annoyed because they were like, damn, I want to go to bed. Like,
No, I read it as they were, like, witnessing... like, they've been here a while. They've been there. They've been the guy running their hand along the wall. And they're just, like, especially the older
okay.
guys, they're just, like, watching that happen. Like, even the kid he talked to earlier, Ian's like, I'm not supposed to be here. And the kid's like, yeah, I'm not supposed to be here either. And he says that in a way that's like, yeah, for the first week I also said I wasn't supposed to be here, but I am clearly supposed to be here. I don't know, I really liked this. Cameron put in the fucking work. This episode was incredible for him.
no, he did. I think he's, like, mumbling to himself as well while he's walking or something.
Yeah.
Fiona is walking down the street, and Angela pulls up next to her. She apologizes for spying on her, like, for Jimmy, and Fiona apologizes for him canceling the Dubai trip. And Angela says, no, the client canceled that morning. Jimmy lied to her.
Yep.
And she
Damn.
says, Jack's a good thief, Fiona, but a shitty person. And I think personally that Fiona should have fallen into Angela's arms and kickstarted her lesbianism storyline.
You're so right.
But that did not happen. So Angela leaves, pulls off.
Yeah.
Fiona is satisfied with her decision then to let Jimmy go
She goes, like,
and continues walking home.
Because, like, before
She's
she
like,
had
right,
sort of
of
a
course.
resignated look on her face, and then she goes, Jack, and she kind of, like, laughs to herself, and...
Yeah, because that was the name he went by with Angela.
Jimmy, Steve, Jack. End of an era.
And then the end credits. And then there is an end credit scene here.
Yeah.
Sammy and Frank are walking back from the hospital. It's the next morning. He complains that she shot him. She waves it off. And she's like, none of your kids have ever shot you. And he goes, none of my other kids have ever shot me. And she goes, none of your kids have ever shot you because they don't care about you enough. And then she goes, she's like, I love you, Daddy. And then, like, pulls him in by his injured arm. And he, like, and it hurts. And he doesn't say anything. And then she's like, I love you, Daddy. And he's like, I love you too, Sammy. Like, through gritted teeth. And then I don't know what the end credits was. Some instrumental track. Yeah. There were a couple notable songs in this episode.
Maroon 5.
I believe.
The maps that lead to you.
There was one called, like, Cherry Blossom. No, that's not the right song. There was a notable song in this episode, but I cannot remember what it was. Next week on Shameless, Fiona tries to save her relationship with Gus. Lip is struggling to pay his tuition bill, so he turns to Kev and drugs to make some money. Ian is out of the psych ward and refusing treatment, and Carl gets into some trouble with the law.
Ugh, this was a good episode.
The next episode is a banger.
This was a really good episode. Like,
yeah.
It was well balanced. Like, everybody had a storyline, and it didn't feel like anybody was stealing time from anybody else's. And, like, everything hurt. Like, I really like it when the cast directs an episode. I really like it. They pay attention to the things that matter.
No, like, it feels more personal.
Yeah.
And, like, you can tell. Like, when Emmy's directed an episode, you can fucking tell. When Shanola directed an episode, you can tell. Are those the only three characters that have
William,
directed?
Emmy, and Shanola are the only ones that directed an episode. Yeah.
Only ones, yeah. What fucking icons to be the one to direct, too. Imagine, like, Steve Howie directing an episode.
I think Cameron, like, wants to direct. I think
Jeremy could do
I feel like it would get to his head.
I think Jeremy could.
Cameron couldn't do it.
I think if Jeremy were to direct, he could not be involved in acting. Yeah, I just think he does, like, too much work acting. I think the same for Cameron.
Yeah.
They both prep so much that directing would just be a lot on top of it.
Yeah, no, I think Cameron already spiles himself with every character. Yeah.
Oh, it was so
Why
good.
is he bald right now? Right. I want to know what he's doing so bad.
Who is he fighting? Why? Like, what's he doing in that boxing ring? Like,
is he starting his boxing career? Like, let me look at...
He's always been that's, like, what he does. That's
he's always been. Yeah. I'm gonna look at...
But, like, I would like to say
Instagram
once again, he did this season being this version of Ian while he was also actively being the Joker ×2. Like,
Jerome. He's 29. What a man. I forgot how old he is.
This one, like, snuck up on me. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this one as much as I did, but this was a fucking excellent episode.
I feel like everyone's just doing something this episode, and it doesn't feel, like, rushed.
It doesn't feel overstuffed.
There's so many episodes we watched, like, that were, like, there's so much going on. But, like, this episode, there was so much going on, but it worked. Like, it worked better. And I feel like everyone had way shorter scenes than normal, but it still flowed.
I'm really excited for the Svetlana Kev V thing to start kicking off. Yeah. Svetlana was a little shit.
Thruple. The fact that it lasts a good couple of seasons.
Speaking of how old Cameron is, you know what shocked me? You guys remember Elise... whatever, who played Sandy Milkovich. Okay. She is married.
Oh, really?
And has been married for, like, many years.
Oh, wow.
How old is she?
I don't know. I wouldn't say, like, many years, but, she's 29, and she does not have a Wikipedia page, but I do think she's been married for, like, probably 5 years at this point.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
which I just thought was like, I was like, oh wow, like did not expect that. She was in a Lumineers music video.
God, the Arctic Monkeys name drop in this episode, so 2015 of them.
The Arcade Fire one,
Yeah.
too. I was like, I'm laughing. Like,
Oh, that's what I meant, the Arcade Fire one, yeah.
I was about to
No,
say, I was
no,
like,
no.
wait, I
It
missed
was
the
the
Arctic
Arcade Fire
Monkeys
one.
one.
Okay,
Yeah.
this episode was so good. I don't know what
So
more to say
silly.
about it. It was so good.
No,
yeah.
no, it's good. I think we talked a good amount in between everything. That we said everything we needed to.
Lena, is your phone number gonna stay? How are you gonna? Can you text when you're in England?
Wi-Fi, right?
I'm not sure yet. I think so. I think
As long as you have Wi-Fi, you'll be able to like iMessage us, but I don't think, and we'll be able to FaceTime. I think just like calling.
yeah, for sure. I mean, if my number will definitely be the same on like WhatsApp and stuff. I'm not sure what I'm doing with my phone plan yet. If I'm just like getting like extending my current plan to international, or if I'm getting a whole new SIM card, but I will definitely let you guys know.
So yeah, Lena's gonna be overseas, and we will figure out how to do a podcast. If we could figure it out in Ohio, we could figure it out in England. It's fine.
Yeah, we're all in a different state already. What's a
Yeah,
country gonna
Come on,
do?
it's just a time difference.
Yeah.
Like,
But thank you so much for doing all of this work this week. Lena did the notes, and Lena was our narrator this week. Fuck yeah, incredible!
Woo, woo, woo,
Thank you so much.
woo.
We have a group chat, and I texted. I was like, "Hey, I haven't done the notes yet because depression," and Lena was like, "I'll do it."
I was like, real.
Yeah.
I just got out of my depressive episode. Let's go.
Let's go.
But we'll be back at some point, Lena from Jolly Old England, and we will bring you the next episode. We are almost done season 5. We'll get season 5 done in
So
the next
close.
6
So
months. I
close.
believe that in us.
Yeah, before
think so,
before
too.
Lena gets
Yeah.
back from England,
Yeah.
we will be done with
I'll
season
do it
5.
from across the pond. I'll speak in a little British accent.
Across the pond with your beans and toast.
Did we want to mention, we got a really nice email.
Oh my god, we got a lovely email.
Oh, yes, we
I haven't
did.
responded to it yet, but let me pull it up.
Shout them
but
out.
Rain, I believe, was
Yes,
their
Rain.
name.
They sent us a beautiful email from Austria, which was so cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really nice. Amanda sent it into our group chat, and we were all like crying over it. So
Yeah,
Whenever we get a nice message, we all just like cry in the group chat
apparently
about it.
listening to us is calming, and they could do it for hours, which is so hilarious because all we do is scream for an hour.
I know. All we do is
Yeah.
yell at each other.
But yes, Rain, we saw your email. We haven't responded to it yet because I forgot. Because I'm sorry, but it was lovely, and we very much appreciate it, and we love hearing from you guys. And Austria, wow, crazy! That's so cool.
Wow.
yeah, seriously.
Wasn't our last email from like
Australia.
another country too? Australia. Get in all of the
We're going in
comments.
alphabetical order.
Yes.
Let's go.
Well, thank you so much, Rain. Yes, Lena, thank you for bringing that up. Thank you, Rain. That was lovely.
Thank you so much. And hey, if you guys ever want to reach out to us, you can email us at luckwehadpod@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear what you have to say. You can say mean things, you
Please
can say
don't say
nice
mean
things,
things.
whatever you want. Actually, don't say mean things. Actually, no, I want hate mail. I want our first hate mail.
I think it's just Luck We Had Pod, right?
It's just luckwehadpod@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at luckwehadpod or Instagram at luckwehadpod, and you can message us on any of those places.
That is also true.
Yep.
Yes.
And
I don't
we
do
all
social
also
media
have
anymore. You guys don't need to follow
our
me.
own socials, but
Yep.
I don't know. I'll post a selfie from time to time.
Yeah. I tweet constantly, especially now that the Eagles are in the Super Bowl.
I also tweet
Yeah.
constantly.
I don't tweet.
You really
I love
don't.
I
to
should
tweet.
I should be tweeting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I followed too many accounts on Twitter that when I'm in public, I cannot go on Twitter
Yep.
anymore. If you
Mhm.
know what
Yep.
I mean. So I might need to make a new account.
I see what you mean.
So when I try to check Twitter and I see what I see, I go, oh, close
Just
tab.
scroll on the
Yeah,
Luck We
there's
Had
like
pod.
Twitter's
Twitter.
weird though. There's like a For You
Oh,
tab on
true.
it now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I'm a fan. I feel like I've been missing a lot of my mutuals tweets.
Me too. Okay,
I know. I feel like I only get verified or ads.
we should cut out before we start spiraling, but it was so
Yes, you do.
lovely sitting down with you guys again. This was
Yes.
such a good episode. I
So
really
good.
enjoyed this.
When everyone's having a little bit of a crazy time, it makes an episode so enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't too sad, it wasn't too happy, it was like right
It
smack
was
in the middle.
meaty. You could dig into it.
Meaty, juicy.
Yeah. So until next
Alrighty.
time, we will see you guys later.
Bye,
Bye.
friends.